Senator from Kansas, and at the risk of getting him into political trouble, I am a huge fan of his. But I want to address the question that he asked, which I think is a legitimate one, which is, what's the hurry on the Affordable Care Act premiums? And there's a really straightforward answer, which is that people are getting letters tomorrow from their insurance carriers. Around 24 million people are going to get letters anytime from now until mid-November. And they are going to pay. Now, 24 million Americans are going to be told that because of the last tax bill that was just enacted by Trump and the Republicans, that people are going to be paying an average of 114% more per person per month. So it's not like we just went into a lab and cooked up an issue to try to hijack some unrelated moving legislative vehicle. The reason for this is that 24 million Americans are specifically on the ACA exchange, and they're absolutely going to get hosed. And because we're all in the same risk pool, it's not just people on the ACA exchange that are going to see massive increases in their health care premiums. Almost every American is about to see a spike in their health care premiums, just like they've seen electricity rates going up at double the rate of inflation, just like they've seen the price of vegetables go up by 39%, just like they've seen shortages of lumber and labor. We have an opportunity to do something because our Republican colleagues, at least some of them, understand the magnitude of this problem for their constituents. And so the normal thing to do in a functioning legislative body where the President of the United States does not believe that he is an elected monarch is to try to negotiate some accommodation. After all, these are all of our constituents. It's not like they're exclusively in urban areas or something. They're not exclusively Democrats. In fact, they're slightly more Republican than Democrat on the ACA exchange. And so if this were a normal, functioning time in American-style democracy, the President of the United States would convene what they call the four corners: majority and minority leader of the Senate, Speaker and minority leader of the House, and we'd try to figure out whether there was an accommodation to be made to save our collective constituents from all this pain. And so when Democrats had the trifecta, when Democrats had the House and the Senate and the presidency, we didn't have any shutdowns. And it wasn't because there's more goodwill on the Republican side towards continuing resolutions than there is on the Democratic side towards continuing resolutions. The reason is because Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi sat down with Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy, or whomever it was, and the president, and they figured out a deal. Even to raise the debt ceiling, Kevin McCarthy said, not for free. So this idea that the minority party, only this minority party, only in this time in United States Senate history, we are to shut up and do whatever we are told. And what's worse is they're asking the majority party to do the same thing. This president believes that he's a monarch. This president finds the legislative branch to be a nuisance. And you know what? The legislative branch is a nuisance. That's the architecture of the Constitution of the United States. We're supposed to be in a struggle with each other. We're supposed to argue and fight. And then we're supposed to come to an accommodation. But we can't come to an accommodation until there's a meeting. And so we're going to be here fighting for health care, and we're also going to be here fighting to reopen the government. If the clock strikes midnight and we're not able to avert this shutdown, then we are going to be here ready to deal. We understand we're not going to get everything we want. We understand we're in the minority. We understand we're out of power. But understand this, we're not powerless. We still represent pessimistically 47% of the, certainly 47% of the Senate seats, but something like half the country wants us to represent their point of view. And the point of view that we are representing, by the way, is shared by most of the constituents who are represented by Republicans too. And so there is still a pathway, but it has to be pursued. And so the onus is on the President of the United States and the Majority Leader and the Speaker to find that pathway. I yield the floor.